Hello there, guys. Well, Steven Gerrard's been sacked by Aston Villa. He came after a 3-0 defeat to Fulham last night at Craven Cottage. Involved Mings scoring an own goal, a Douglas Luiz red card, and Matty Cash conceding a penalty for a handball. Now, regarding the decisions, they were harsh. They were very harsh, but on the balance and play, Fulham deserved that victory anyway. They had so many opportunities. And in the end, inevitably, it led to Steven Gerrard being sacked literally 30 minutes to an hour after the game. It was coming. It was definitely coming. And when you have the away fans singing songs about the Liverpool-Chelsea game when Liverpool didn't manage to win the league, and about Gerrard being sacked in the morning and all those sort of things, you know your time's coming to an end. There was no coming back from it. Even though we had a decent first half against Chelsea at the weekend, the 3 performances before that and the performances throughout his tenure, really, having only accumulated 44 points, I think it is now, out of 38 games. So that's 38 games, that's a full season of football. And to only amass 44 points is shocking. Excluding teams not in the Premier League, he's only managed to win 2 games in the last 19. It's shocking, the form's shocking, and the writing was on the wall. It was time to go. I wish Gerrard well. I know it didn't work here, but you have to wish him well. He never blamed the fans for this. He always said it was on him. I just don't think he was good enough, and he wasn't ready. He left Rangers too early, too soon for me, and he wanted to come to the Premier League. And me, as an honest Villa fan, it was to get the Liverpool job once Klopp left. He wanted to try out, and he knew if it worked at Villa, if he got Villa into European places, he had an opportunity to get that Liverpool job, where now I don't think he has that opportunity. And if anything, I don't know if he's going to get another Premier League opportunity in his next job. He'll have to look at lower leagues or maybe abroad. Now to Villa. Where do we go from here? Well, Aaron Danks will be in charge on Sunday for the game at home to Brentford. The rest of Gerrard's backroom staff, including names like Gary McAllister, have gone. Neil Critchley's gone, which is mad, really. He left the Blackpool role, only a few months ago, and now he's out of a job. Period. It's mental. Who do we get? Yeah, so as I said, Aaron Danks, he'll be in charge for the game on Sunday. And now the search begins. Who will be the next Villa manager? So we've seen a few names initially that were mentioned past few weeks, maybe months. Pochettino's name's always come up. It's not happening. He's refused it. I didn't see it happening anyway. To go from what he did with Spurs to then go to a club like PSG, and no matter the money anyway, to just drop down to a club like Villa, yeah, it was never happening. Tuchel, another one, that just wasn't going to happen. He's managed again at clubs like Chelsea and PSG. To then expect him to come to a club with no European football, currently in a relegation struggle, it's a big ask. Unai Emery is another name that's been mentioned. Very good manager. Previous Premier League experience with Arsenal. I know it didn't end well, but he did have a good first season. I think, missing 3 points off Champions League and getting to Europa League final, albeit they were battered in that final, but he's a good manager. And then he's gone on to prove that with Villarreal, with how they've played in Europe as well. Just so good. I don't think he'd come either. I don't think he'd want to come to the club. The money will be right, but he seems comfortable. I don't know if he'd want to come to the English Premier League after how he was treated the last time. Not saying it was wrong or right, but he was treated in a certain way before he left Arsenal. With the mimics of how he says good evening and stuff like that. That all came from when he had his time in the Premier League. So now another one was Thomas Frank, but there's strong rumours that Brentford have offered him a new deal. So that, to me, seems as if Villa made an approach at some point over the past few weeks, and Brentford have been like, no, we're going to offer you a new deal, Thomas. We'd like you to stay at the club. Whether he signs or not, we'll see. I'd love Thomas Frank at the club. I think he's done an amazing job at Brentford. Really, really good job on a shoestring budget there. They seem to be a Premier League established club now. I know it's been a season and a bit, but the way they play, they have some good players there as well. The recruitment's so good at Brentford. It's been like that for years now. But he's a good manager, and I think whether he'd like the opportunity or not, I don't know, but I think he could do really well with our squad. And then another name that's come about today is Ruben Amorim, I'm going to say. Sporting Lisbon manager. He again went to Sporting in a very difficult time. They were very difficult period financially, just after the Bruno Fernandes transfer, which bailed them out. He likes to incorporate youth in his teams. He plays a 3-4-3, very expansive football, possession based and solid defensively. In Europe, they look very good as well. A lot of English people would have probably watched the Sporting Spurs games where they dominated Tottenham, especially that first half. They were really good progressive football they played. He's a young manager. Now, is it too soon for him to join the Premier League? I don't know. It's a difficult one. I've had managers previously like Andre Villas-Boas that have come across, had a good start but just never lasted. He never lasted at both Chelsea and Spurs. It's a risk. It's a huge risk considering age, but supposedly he's from a lot of people that work around him, he's a great communicator. Gets his point across well. He speaks English as well. So yeah, that would be another interesting name if we were to go for him. I think it's exciting. I do think it's exciting. Obviously, there's always negatives, the inexperience, no experience at all in the Premier League. But so I don't know. Sometimes you have to go for these things. We've seen managers come across and do really well within the league, and then we've also seen managers come across and fail miserably. Final name is Sean Dyche. Now, Sean Dyche is an interesting one. I know a lot of fans will be like, Sean Dyche managed Burnley, 4-4-2, all that. He doesn't. He's not. If you delve into his tactics just a bit, he's not that restrictive. I think he was that restrictive because he was managing within his means. Minimal transfer budget, always on a shoestring. He just did a great job. Got them into European football, which is crazy. Got Burnley into European football with the budget he had. Absolutely ridiculous. A great manager. Consistently kept them in the Premier League. When he did go, eventually got relegated. Just a really, really good manager who I think does deserve a bigger opportunity, a better club with an actual budget. With an actual budget to work with. Now, I don't know about a lot of Villa fans. I think a few would be okay with it. A lot, I don't think they would. They'd just see Burnley, Sean Dyche. No, I'm not interested. But if you were to get the opportunity, I'd back him. I'd definitely back him for sure. It would be interesting to see. You've just seen a manager like Eddie Howe, who went to Bournemouth again on a really tight budget. Okay, they spent a bit towards the end of his tenure, with the likes of Oib and players like that. Maybe Slanky came a bit, I think maybe just towards the end as well before they got relegated, and then he had a good season in the Championship for him. But again, shoestring budget, up 4 leagues, Bournemouth were established for a few seasons in the Premier League, and then they just didn't develop from that, and it always catches up with you. Dyche, similar circumstances, was at the club for a long time. Never really got the full backing. Once you got into it, he never really got that full backing that he required to maintain it. So, who's to say Dyche couldn't do such a similar job to what Howe's done at Villa? I think it's possible. I'd be up for it, but I don't know. I don't know how the Villa fan base would take to that. So yeah, there's a few options that have been mentioned. Obviously, there's a few managers that have been chalked off already. They've already said no. Really ambitious. I never thought we'd get them anyway. But to the managers that are currently in the the betting markets are up there. I'm fairly happy with the names. I am, as long as I don't see Steve Bruce, I'm all good. So yeah, just a video on that and the potential names. Who I'd want, I would like Thomas Frank. You know, he's had that Prem experience now. I do like the football he plays. He's fluid in his tactics, within team dependent as well. Can go to a 3-5-2 as well as 3-4-3 and a 4-3-3. We've seen him do that plenty of times where he mixes it up. He had Canos, Tony and Mbeumo 3 up top, and then he'll play sometimes Tony and Mbeumo and play the 5 across the middle. Yeah, a great manager, and I think he'd do a great job at Villa. But the other names that I've mentioned, I think would also, you know, do a decent job. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the content, enjoyed the video, I'm planning to do more. Yeah, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for your time.